Welcome to our Suns player season preview, where this time we are going to talk about Boss Man.
Yes.
Jae Crowder, one of my favorite Suns because you never know what you're going to get. He's like a box of chocolates, Forrest Gump style. One of the things about Jae that I love so much is his ability to draw fouls at the three-point line, which we will get to at the end of this. But immediately, your first thoughts when you think of Jae Crowder and this Suns team?
I think of him as kind of the underrated glue guy. You know, Mikal Bridges is like the glue guy, but Jae Crowder was a huge part of what they did last year. And it took them some time to figure things out with that starting lineup. But once they did, they really got rolling. And I think he was an underrated part of their success on offense as a floor spacer and a guy who was never afraid to let it fly. And on the defensive end, being able to guard both wings on the perimeter and some of those bigger fours down in the paint just because of his strength. That's something that, you know, people are clamoring for Cam Johnson to get the start, but I really do think that Jay's defense is a step above where Cam is at, and he brings something crucial to the table.
Jay is a strong man.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're out there with strong players, there's a certain level of comfort that you get from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just know that they're not going to get pushed around. They're going to be fundamentally solid no matter where they are positioned on the defensive side of things. And you can take, you know, the offers, you know, like, because there were stretches last season where I think this is Jay's biggest weakness right now, is that one game he can go 6 for 8 from three. The next game he can go 0 for 8 for three. And you just never know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to level that out a little bit in the finals last year, but even in the Western Conference finals, it was not pretty from time to time. That's why you have to rely on your intangibles, the other things that make you an asset to your team when you're on the floor. And I think Jay is as good as anybody in the Suns organization at those little small intangibles.
Absolutely. You know, you look at his three-point shooting, and obviously it's pretty great. He shot just under 39% on about 6 threes per game last year. Pretty impressive. He only shot 40% from the field, but it's because I think 75% of his attempts were coming from beyond the arc. So he's not really a guy that'll drive much or get to the basket much, but he does move the ball well. He's very smart, and those two-way intangibles that you're talking about were very important for such a young team that made a surprising finals run.
Stylistically, he's probably the best dresser on the team. We'll just say that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, you know, that was just talk nerdy to me, so you laid us out with some stats, but what is your bold prediction for one Mr. Jae Crowder this season?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's really not that bold in my book, but I think he keeps his starting job all season long. I know a lot of people are big on Cam Johnson replacing him in that starting lineup. But if you just look at his shooting splits as a starter last year compared to that, you know, 18 or so games where Monty brought him off the bench to try and mix things up, you know, he shot about 6% better from the field, about 5% better from three-point range. His numbers were just better across the board as a starter, and now that starting unit actually paid dividends. You know, they were one of the best starting units in basketball after those first 16 games or so. That was kind of the feeling out process. So for me, I think Crowder, even though he's 31 now, even though he's talked a lot about the mental and physical fatigue that back-to-back finals runs and back-to-back shortened off seasons will have on you, I think he's gearing up for another year of being the starter all season.
I think Jae Crowder will have his best career year from the 3-point line this season.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, because I feel like there is something mental about it from, you know, and there's a certain, you know, when you go 0 for 6, the great thing about Jae Crowder is that he can forget about the last game and the last shot. Clearly.
Right.
But I do think there's a certain fatigue that goes along with him, that maybe in games where he's not doing so hot and he's 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, he's just chucking it up because he knows it's the best shot because he's open, you know what I mean? Instead of truly believing that he can make those shots. And I feel like with this mental coaching that he's gone through, kind of a reset, a refresh, and sometimes a mental refresh is better than a physical one. And I think that's going to help him. And he will have a career year from the 3-point line this season. So yeah, that's kind of my bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. And we should note that he's already phenomenal as a three-point shooter. According to the B-ball index, 81st percentile in three-point percentage, 91st in three-point gravity, 92nd in three-point foul rate, which of course he is, 98th in three-point attempted rate, and 99th in spot-up points per possession. So 99th percentile, anytime he spotted up, it was probably going to result in some points. So he's already very good. So that is a bold prediction, and I would love to see it because the Suns are already tough enough to stop on the offensive end.
When we wrap it up with Jae Crowder, I mentioned earlier about fouls at the 3-point line. Yeah, I think he's the best in the league at doing this. I could be wrong. Maybe you have some stats to back this up. But what is you put down over under 3.5?
Yeah.
Is that per game or for the season? Because I think 3.5 is wildly low.
That's what I thought too when I saw that number, and then I looked it up. He had 6 last year, so
6 4-point plays.
Yeah, 6 4-point plays.
He already had one in the preseason.
Yeah, I'm going way over on that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
sure.
even all he has to
you
do
only
is
get
get to
better
4.
with that.
Yeah. He only has to get to 4. I know the league is trying. The one complication.
Yes, the league.
The league is trying to cut down on guys jumping into players, but Crowder's aren't, the James Harden, Steph Curry lean into a guy sideways, throw some wild shit
No,
up.
he just falls backwards.
Yes. He falls backwards. He knows how to subtly kick the leg out without fully extending it and getting in trouble and hurting guys like we've seen other players do. I'm going over on this.
Likewise. I am definitely taking the over. I think he's going to have like 40 by the All-Star break. Not really. Probably like 5 by the All-Star break, I would say. But definitely over 3.5. That has been your season preview with Jae Crowder as our feature focus. Join us on PHNX Suns for other player previews as we're like full on charged towards the beginning of the season next week. So come back and see some more content.